Community Board 9 for the month of March 2023. Yes, so we're going to waive the reading of the rules of order for all our meetings. Essentially, we're just asking that we have a environment of respect, that we respect the speakers as they're they're presenting or expressing their thoughts, and that we're making sure that we're keeping microphones muted and things of that nature as well. Okay, so with that, we are now going to move on to public commentary. So I just asked, so Dante, Khalid, nobody's signed up for public commentary, correct?
No, but
okay.
We do have Ms. Boyd's hands is right.
I do recognize, I see that as well. Okay, so we'll you can please promote Ms. Boyd to panelists, and we'll see if she has commentary for the evening.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Ms. Boyd.
I have 3 points to make. One is that this community board continues to fail to give proper notice to the community regarding meetings and meeting changes. This includes the executive board meeting that was supposed to occur yesterday. We got 3 notices during March on the 3rd, the 10th, and the 17th. That it was going to be on the 21st, and the community was never apprised of the fact that it was changing. So it was a lack of notification. It does seem to be the impression by Dante and the community board office that the community residents are not allowed to, or is not important enough to inform us when changes to meetings are occurring. It seems that only that information is going to board members, as if this is not a community board. The second issue is that I had already placed information to the executive board members regarding my removal from the land use committee subcommittee, where it was clear via the video that I was placed on that committee. And then Chairman Fred sat there and removed me in violation of the CB9 bylaws, which allows both the chairs of committees as well as the chairs of the chair of CB9 to place members on the committee. There is no law or bylaw that says that subcommittees have to be completely comprised of the members of the committee itself, especially because subcommittees don't actually make resolutions or make any determination. That information goes to the committee, and it's the committee who's actually voting. The third issue is the fact that this constant approval letters that the community board is supposed to be sitting there doing should be advocating for the residents in this community. However, each time there is an approval that is requested by the community board, there's a failure to first have anybody present on that proposal, to disseminate the information to the community board members, as well as to the public, and then it's just simply put down for a vote. For example, you sat there and voted, quite a number of you here voted for the Prospect Park position, but you don't even know what that was. It was put before you. There was never a hearing given to the community. It seemed like the only thing that you ever put on your agenda for people to come and speak about is liquor licenses, as if the only reason why a community board exists in CB9 is to approve liquor license. All these other approvals that are very, very important, such as the Vail approval, which currently the Landmarks Preservation Department did not support because of what is happening in the Vail. And yet I bet you if I ask any of the board members who agreed to the Vail, they don't even know where the Vail is at, because there was never a presentation given in front of the community board. Board members were never allowed to ask any questions, and it was just a simple vote. This constant only having liquor licenses present, only liquor licenses, people being questioned, is a failure on this community and this community board to function properly. And so I am requesting that this community board, anytime it has to vote on anything, that a presentation be done at the general board meeting, that questions be asked so that the board members know what they're voting on, just like they do with the liquor license. We're not just a liquor license community. Also, there is also the issue that was
Please
raised.
conclude.
I'm sorry,
about
Ms. Boyd.
the
Yeah, I need you
5G
to wrap up
towers.
your remarks.
The 5G towers. 5G towers are now being put all into our community. And yet I got a letter from another community board where it specifically stated that you had 60 days to respond to the placement of the 5G towers. And if the community board did not sit there and say anything about those placements, that they would just put them there. And my question keeps being asked and has not been answered. Did OTI give that notice to CB9? Because if OTI gave that notice to CB9, the CB9 failed in its responsibility of first notifying the community about these 5G towers and allowing us to have a hearing on these 5G towers, as well as preventing the community board from either saying they want these G towers, where they want these 5G towers, if they want them, or having any input. Now, I foil for this.
Ms. Boyd, we've let you go way. Ms. Boyd, we've let you go significantly over. We've let you go significantly over, Ms. Boyd.
Did
Okay, Ms.
CB9
Boyd.
get this
Ms. Boyd.
notice from
Ms. Boyd.
OTI? That's the question.
All right. Just very quickly for a couple of your points. I think for this meeting, this is just simply a clerical error in terms of the notices went out with the 21st date. But it has been made known before, and it's been posted on the CB9 calendar that it is for the 22nd. That is a clerical error. We apologize for any confusion with respect to that. And the team is going to look for those things and just make sure that we're checking those. We try and avoid doing the changes as necessary, but it was necessary for yesterday's meeting. Just very briefly with regards to your subcommittee placement, you were never removed from the subcommittee. So we'll just end it there. You were never removed because you were never placed on the subcommittee, because when the discussion happened in the committee, there was no subcommittee, and that went through a whole separate process in which it was approved by the board, because there was a board action that was required for that. And after that, spaces were filled. So you were never removed. So that's not accurate. For the last part of it, in terms of the parks, the Possible Park Vale, that went through our usual process in which it went to the appropriate committee. It was vetted and discussed there at that forum. It was, but again, discussed at the executive committee meeting, and the chair was there and was able to address the points of that to the board as well. And the board had an opportunity to ask questions. The board voted in favor of the approval, and that is our typical process. So I think we were in order with respect to that. Okay, so I think that's all I have for right now. Then let me see. I see Kyrie and Teresa. Are you doing this public commentary or? Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Well, hold on. I did see Ms. Wichita's hand up first, so we'll have her go and then we'll have you go, Kyrie.
Oh, my hand was up first, but okay.
You can go first. Thank you.
No, ladies, I love you, Teresa. You go.
Oh, well, I thought it was up first too, but anyway. All right. I too have some concerns, as Alicia expressed, about the Link NYC towers that went up. I've expressed this numerous times before, and I know a letter was supposed to have been sent and we should have had a hearing. I've been going to other community board meetings and they've been getting hearings with ITC as well as Link NYC. That did not happen in our board, and we had these towers installed. I know many of my neighbors expressed concern at my block association meeting. I brought it to the board many times. I've written letters, and I wrote a letter, I think maybe yesterday, and those letters are ignored. So I want to know what was sent to our community board, because we were supposed to have an opportunity to speak on the location, and the community was supposed to be given, as these other boards are. At the time, I went to a Queens community board meeting last week, and they had 4 speakers talking to them, including Jamani Williams was there. I sent this information in an email to you, Fred, and Dante, and the whole board. I think maybe you read it. This isn't the first one. This isn't the second one. And no response. I want to know what happened. everybody wants to know. There are numerous people that have been concerned about these. There's one on Bedford and Empire. There's one on Bedford and Montgomery, right next to where people live. And there's many concerns regarding the health risks of the towers, the placement of the towers, the privacy violations. There is public land, private enterprise, the reputation of Link NYC and their history with the city. Why are they coming into our community, putting up these towers when Upper East Side, Queens, they get to say no? They get to put a moratorium on these towers. Why are they in our community with no notice to our public? They said it's being said that the community board is given notice and we're supposed to be able to speak on it. And that hasn't happened. And this isn't the first time I've brought it up and I've been ignored. And I think other people, as you can see, are also concerned. I cannot say the number of people that have talked to me about this. And it's not okay, guys. It's not okay. You know, I talked to Crystal Hudson's office about it this week, and it's going to continue. And there needs to be, CB9 needs to do something. I'm working on a letter. You know, you send it to EP. EP isn't really appropriate for it, but I'm trying to work, but our meeting, there is roadblocks here, and I don't think there needs to be.
I need you to conclude your remarks as well, so all your time's almost expiring.
Okay, so please respond to me. Thank you.
All right, Kyrie.
Well, hey, so are we going to respond to Teresa first and then I can speak? I think that's what she said at the end. Please respond to her.
Sure, to the extent of this is a conversation that's going back for a little bit. And there are some notifications that we're making sure I'm working with the district office in terms of understanding the communications. I think there's some different understandings that are happening. I don't want to speak ahead of them with respect to that. I want to make sure that we have the documentation and we're able to give the appropriate answer for that. But that is something that we're looking at and trying to get that right now. But otherwise, that is something that is definitely something that can be discussed in the Environmental Protection Committee. And I think that conversation is happening.
No,
and
guys.
we'll provide additional information.
Answer from the district manager. What happened? Did a notice go out? Yes.
We are in the process of
No,
getting that information.
I'll answer her. Well, thank you for your question. And I won't be able to answer you until I compile the emails and the FOIL requests that have come in. So I don't know off the top of my head. I believe this conversation even excuse me, thank you. I believe this conversation even predates me being district manager. So I have to go back and look at the information. We've received the FOIL request, so I can't answer you until I've been able to do my research. Thank you.
Okay, Kyrie.
Yes, hi. So this leads me to my follow-up. So initially, I've noticed every time Miss Alicia Boyd comes to speak, every meeting I've been present, she speaks up for the community and her way, whether it's agreed on or understood by everyone or not. I think she always raises valid points. There's been several times that she's raised points that I, to myself, have been asking and inquiring, as the community needs to be included in everything that we're doing. So then to see Teresa now follow up and ask similar questions, and then as her conclusion, it was quickly to pass on to me, to where I have to ask you all to respond to her. We're part of the community board as well. And just to follow up, to add some more, I don't know, just to add to what they were saying. For the marathon, I have been contacted at least by 25 or more residents in our community in CB9. The marathon that just happened on the 19th, we first received an email on March 13th saying that we would possibly incur some road closures in our community that weekend for a marathon. That was a message sent out from the district office by you, Dante. And again, I thought that I'm sure they had to clear a lot of, I have to have a lot of clearances and you all could have known beforehand, or if you did not know, why did we not know? And then in the email, it says possible road closures. So I actually have emails, text messages, and I've received calls complaining. They shut down and closed down all of our streets along Washington and Clausen, just about, even Carroll Street, which is a dead end. Our residents could not park. It was just a mess. There were not enough signs and notices sent out for that as well. In addition to that, I too have brought up the 5G towers, and we've spoken on this numerous times, even before coming into this year. And also upon my research, we noticed that there was a 60-day notice. I did see this too, and it's like, we don't know anything. And then it brings us to the cannabis meeting. So this just must be something that I too agree with Alicia. We must require anyone who's presenting any type of anything that we must vote on as a community board, or that's going to impact this community. There must be a new standard where they submit their presentation at least a week prior to, so that we can review to have suitable questions and be able to ask the questions and not just listen to what the folks are telling us that they intend to do in our community, especially when they're doing it and they have given notice to the district office, or CB9 should have had known about this stuff as it's traumatically impacting our community. And I do think we have to do better to
Yeah, your
make sure
time is
everyone-
expiring. I need you to,
Okay, so no, I will right now, Fred, and that's fine. And thank you. And moving forward, whenever someone's time is expired, especially earlier when we had one person speaking from public commentary, normally we have 14, 15, please be a little more gracious when telling her to stop. Thank you.
we typically are much more gracious.
Thank you. If you're gonna
You're very
respond to
welcome.
any of my other
And-
questions.
Oh, no,
thank you.
and I will.
Thank you.
And I will. I think the answer is still the same in terms of, with respect to the 5G, there is.
But we never
definitely-
received an answer,
Oh,
Fred. It's always
Sir. With respect to the 5G, the district manager said, and I am saying, there is still some information and there's some nuance to it in terms of the responses and when communication was received and other things. Rather than respond prematurely, we are gathering all the information in terms of what letters were sent, when they were received, when periods expired, and things of that nature. But rather than speak prematurely, the district manager is in the process of getting that so that way he can truly report back to the board, and we're working from a position of information. In the interim, this is something that is in the environmental protection, or the environmental protection has started having conversations, or if they haven't, they can start that conversation with respect to the impact and any other question. I have raised this to the borough level with respect to the borough board and the borough president's office in terms of that, and making sure that, you know, there's clarity around that in terms of what the requirements are and what we're doing, because this is a borough-wide issue, not simply in CB9. So that conversation is happening. With respect to the presentations, our process typically is to make sure we go through the committee process, because simply put, we don't have the time to necessarily say we're going to dedicate 15 to 20 minutes for every presentation that happens. To the extent we can, we do. If they require full hearings, we often do go that route instead. But that is the purpose of committees, in terms of they typically do that work on behalf of the board in terms of doing that vetting process. And that's part of the reason why we truly stress for the community to go to the committee meetings, because that's where the real work happens, and we're able to dedicate that level of time. And that's the other reason why we always request that the chairs, the committee chairs, in their report be as informative as possible in their reports, and give us the nuances or answer the questions that we have. So that is currently the process, always something in review, but that's where we're going with these things at this time. Okay.
And the marathon, so we also.
Okay, thank you for that. I left that one off. The marathon is an issue that I am discussing with the district office as well. The breakdown here is too often there are city agencies that skip processes in terms of the notification or the inclusion in certain discussions. So there are certain city agencies that take these and they have conversations with others. Sometimes the CB is the last to know. But that is a conversation I'm having with the district manager in terms of reaching to some of the agencies. And I'm actually going to be speaking with respect to this during my chairman's report, in terms of making sure there is better responsiveness to the community board in terms of notifications, in terms of timing, and even in terms of previous conversations that happened, planning meetings, that we are included in those before the fact. The marathon that just happened was a surprise to us as it was to everyone else. You didn't get it much later after we did, which is a problem. And that is something that we are definitely going to be addressing. Okay. All right.
I just want to add to that. There is a clause in the city charter regarding street closures. This is something that I found out the other day. And it says essentially the Department of Transportation does not, they're supposed to notify us for road closures expanding, I think, past 5 days. So what I've learned is that a lot of these road closures, you see Con Ed pop up on your street. Those road closures only take a day or two. So now DOT does not have to notify us. I want everyone to understand that people think that these notifications are automatically sent to me as a district manager. They are not. I have found out very hard and the hard way, because I get the phone calls, you don't, I do, that these agencies like DOT use this very law to not have to notify us. And so we're working to try to figure out how to get around that. This is a situation that has happened with other district managers, especially on holidays, religious holidays. Like when there's a closure, we don't get notified. So this is something that we're working with. That also includes these large events. I've been very fortunate enough to already reach out to some of the upcoming marathons and trying to set up a conversation with them, because I've heard the concerns about the marathon already. So as those conversations get scheduled, I'll be sure to update you. But I want you all to understand, like,
No,
the
thank you.
language of the law is this. And so we're trying to work diligently within that to notify everyone.
All right. Okay, so I think we are done. That's exhausted public commentary. We are now going to move on to the next item in the agenda, which will be committee chair check-ins. All right. Okay, so for all the chairs, just for the, just to make sure that we're respectful of time and we're being efficient as well, please, if you've already submitted your reports, great. And we'll make sure that the package is forwarded to the community board. Please keep your oral reports down to 2 minutes or less if possible. Just to give us the high level if there's any question, and we'll be able to take some questions after that, hopefully, as well. All right. I do see Fran. Fran, are you there? Are you able to speak? Can you give a report very quickly?
I'm there, but I can't speak.
Understood. Okay. All right. Okay. So if we can, Ms. Moses, I see you. Are you prepared to give a
Yes,
report?
I'm here.
All right.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes. Okay, so ULIP held a meeting on March the 14th. On 975 Nostrand Avenue development, they did a presentation in reference to the fresh supermarket application and the use of residential and commercial development. So there was a number of questions that, the community participated in. And so there were follow-up questions, and I think the community board did get back to the people that have follow-up questions. I want to say that on our next meeting, which is April 4th at 7 p.m. Again, we're going to have another guest here. It's coming in from the Brooklyn Borough President Office, and the deputy director is going to do a presentation. Now, what I would like is that, yes, it does, like, this goes out to, I think, all the board members, but I would like that information to also go out to the community, like when you do your calendar, so that they can participate, because a lot of these things, like the borough president, he's getting ready to give a comprehensive, his office, his deputy director is giving a comprehensive plan. And they're going to present their draft and their recommendation. And a lot of that has to do with what's going to happen within the community. So if we have a special guest coming in, Dante, we just like it to go out to the public. So if they want to participate, they can. And that way they will be informed of everything. And our minutes will be submitted. And I also want to say that we do have a subcommittee They presented a letter, and Dante, I see you did send out that letter, and you gave the New York City Planning a date to respond, which was March 30th. We'll see if that happens. But anyway, it did go out. And so our City of Yes subcommittee will be waiting for those answers. So we're moving along, and that's all I can say. I just want to say one thing in reference to the district office. The chairs are, in my opinion, the chairs are responsible. Well, the district office is responsible to get that information out to the chairs. And the reason that we are chairs is because we are supposed to follow up with the community and get all the information back into the district office. And then it goes to the board. That's how I read it. So when people say, the district office didn't do this. Well, that's why the chairs are there. You don't need a chair. So I would be a little upset if the district office didn't get the information into me or to my committee that it pertains, let's say, to ULUP, and they didn't do it. So I just want everybody to understand why we have the chairs. So chairs, you need to do your homework. And that way, if the district manager didn't get back to you, then we can have something to say. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so listen, so are there any questions? And we can take a couple of questions for the ULURP chair. Chair of Land Use, any questions?
I don't have a question. I just want a clarification from Ms. Moses. You
Yes,
said 975 Nassau, that's where the old supermarket used to be?
yes, yes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions for the chair of ULURP?
I just had a question. I'm sorry if I missed this or if it was
Uh-huh.
just in a meeting. 54 Crown Street, it appears that they want an appeal in January, and construction has started on what will be a 17-story building now, but was previously marked for an 8-story building. Wondering if you have any insight as to the happenings there.
Well, yes, Alicia was going to court with that particular situation. As far as I understand, 54 Crown Street is going to go forward, but it's going to be not as many floors as it was going to be before. And as a matter of fact, they kind of lost whatever it was that they were trying to do. So whatever happened, that project is going to go forward, but not as many floors. And I think she's not here, but Alicia can answer that really better than I can. But right now, there's nothing happening on our end. So
Understood. I'll try
what's
to
happening
connect.
now, yeah, it's like whatever's happening now is as of right.
Yeah, I think whatever is happening at this point,
Yeah.
it's within the zoning at the very least, I can say.
Yes,
So if it's within the zoning, it's not necessarily a ULURP matter anymore. They're building as right per the zoning.
right.
per the modified zoning.
And people read our minutes, because in our minutes, it kind of explains what happened.
From the March meeting or from the?
Yes, yeah, our March 14th minutes will be out. And if that's not good enough, you could always go online and see the whole thing live. How we-
Gotcha. All right.
But yeah, but please just read our minutes.
I'll read your minutes and I'll try to give Alicia a call as well. Thank you.
Right. Mhm,
Pat.
Thank you, Ms.
Well,
Moses.
mhm.
Well, Primo, before you go on mute, I was going to say, do you have do you want to give your public safety report?
Yeah, sure. So hi, everyone. I'm apologies for being late. I was just returning from an event, the same event that Fran is currently at, which was a public safety convening that was at the Brooklyn Children's Museum. I think, most pertinent takeaway was that I met with the chair of public safety for CB8, Mark Thurton, and look forward to collaborating with him in the future. In terms of what we did at our meeting, probably the biggest highlight, of course, would be the visit from the Office of Cannabis Management, which I assume Kyrie covered a little bit, but they came and gave what was essentially an hour-long kind of presentation plus Q&A about how cannabis licensing, how the Office of Cannabis Management operates, who its governing board is, how the tax dollars are distributed, a little bit of insight into kind of like the process for application. As you all know, there's currently a holdup in federal court around Kings County in particular, or state court for Kings County to, we're currently not granting licenses. However, we have received our first application at the board, which has set us into motion a little bit around preparing an actual application process. The Office of Cannabis Management has a suggested application, and so we're going to hope to translate that during our next meeting into an actual application. We'll hope to put it in front of the full board, et cetera, and I'll partner with the district office on that. So OCM, good. They came as a partner. They didn't send their deck in advance, but they did send their deck afterwards. And so now it's in everybody's inboxes. So you have all that information. As a partner, we hope to bring them back to a meeting whenever we can in the future as well. So moving on from OCM, I'd say like the most pertinent thing right now feels like complaints, a lot of complaints about Gaia No Maya, which is a business on Flatbush Avenue. We are going to take a serious look into what kind of actions we can take. We've received somewhere between 5 and 7 complaints at a minimum about this business, and want to see what actions the community board can take. And then we also had 2 applicants, I believe. I would have to, let me pull up my email to see who those 2 applicants were. Fred, if you want to circle, I can probably do it quickly. Let me just do it quickly. I'm pretty good at the computer. Give me 1 second. It's coming. I'm sorry for taking more time than I should have. Okay. We had 1 applicant, Patrick Steakhouse on 227 Rogers Avenue. And that application is fairly straightforward. It's a business that's been there before. It's a reapplication. We did ask them to submit a few additional things like a seating plan, as well as kind of like a staff plan. And so Mia, Dante, I don't know if that is available to us yet. And so we won't be kind of like we'll only put it in front of the larger community board as long as we have kind of those 3 pieces that we asked for from the owner. But the owner came as well as the owner's representative, and we had a pretty good conversation. And they seem like upstanding folks who care about the community and have been here for a while. We just had a few questions that we wanted answered, particularly around seating chart, et cetera. Kyrie, go for it.
Oh, no, I just wanted to just ask this question and say, yes, they did send over all of the documentation from the Office of Cannabis. And I wanted to know, were they supposed to come to the general board meeting on the 28th? I think we asked them to. Yeah, I think we did ask them to. Is either that one or the next one that we asked them to come to. So let me. I only brought that up so that we could review in depth and have our questions prepared, because thank you.
Good note to follow up for Dante, Mia. Do you want me to send an email just so it's in your inbox for us to? Yeah. All right. I'll fire off a quick email just to make sure that we do this so we can get any materials that might be available in advance. But we also do have the materials that they presented last time. So at a minimum, let's make sure to just attach those to the invite that goes out, if that's possible. And I'll put that in the email too. Just give me 2 seconds. Okay. I'll pause there and see if there are any questions.
All right.
Yeah,
Any questions? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, Dante, sorry, Primo, you had said you had 2 applications, but you only talk about the State House. Did I miss the other one?
There was only 1 application.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Yep. Okay. Okay. So, all right. So, Primo, so is that application going to be considered? You want this to be considered for the board?
Yes. We do want it to be considered pending that they have the things that we asked for followed up on.
Okay. So we can do, if you're willing to go forward with that, we can at the appropriate time, we'll put in
let's add it with
a provisional. It'll be a provisional. Yeah, we can put it in there. So we'll at least add it to the. Actually, no, let's do this. We can add it to the agenda, and if they don't have the materials, they're not going to be considered at the board meeting.
That sounds right to me.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So that's that application. So that's 1 item for the agenda.
Yep. And I'll send an email with Fred. Do you want to be on this? Do you care, or do you want just me to put it on top?
Sure. Why not? Yeah.
All right. I write a pretty good email. So.
The best.
So that Primo, you will have your minutes of your meeting ready?
Sure. The minutes of the meeting. I feel like Mia always does my minutes. Honestly, is that great? That's.
I just want to make sure that you are in.
I will make
Please
sure.
update.
I will make sure, Linda. I will make sure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that. All right, so let's see, I see economic development. Warren, do you have a report for EcoDev?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. We had a good meeting. We had a presentation from a potential, and this is with the help, actually, the genesis of this, Nick Almanar, about getting merchants associations together on Nordstrom Avenue. So right now we're at the beginning, but we'll see what happens there. The second thing I want to say is that I'm hearing the criticism about the half marathon on Washington Avenue. And I just want to point out that this is a very important event for our local businesses. And to have X number of thousand people come and buy things is a very positive thing for Stevie and I. So thank you.
Okay. All right, we will take a couple of questions are there any questions for the chair of EcoDev? Okay, hearing none. Thank you very much, Warren.
Thank you.
Environmental protection.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So the Environmental Protection Committee has been receiving an inundated amount of information pertaining to the 5G link. And I even received an email saying that it was all under the jurisdiction of the Environmental Protection. But I mean, I can say that there are other committees that may also be, a part of that, the whole 5G issue. We have land use, we have public safety. So, I mean, but as I'm listening to Dante and what's her name? My economic environmental protection colleague,
Ms. Westerdahl.
Ms. Westerdahl.
Ms. Westerdahl. It's I think that as a board, we need to, get a sense as to where we are on this topic, because, it's something that is moving quickly. And I mean, if we are saying that we don't have enough information to go on, then we need to come to some conclusion to maybe stop things from happening until, we have information that we need. So I, as the chair of the Environmental Protection Committee, we are going to put together a recommendation letter, and hopefully we can get the ball rolling, because I mean, it's here, it's happening quickly. And if we don't say something or do something like the other communities, we are going to be stuck with something that I don't even want to remember, because it could be another 911 or some other something that comes to haunt us. So before that happens, hopefully we can put something together quickly and, involve the community. But as a committee, again, we will work on putting a recommendation letter together. And in addition to that, we do have some other community issues that I did mention to Dante earlier, and he did send me some feedback. So, hopefully we can get all those things addressed. And that's all I have.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Questions for the Environmental Protection Chair? Kyrie, I see you. Are there any other questions?
Yes, Warren, I can't find where to raise my hand.
Okay, no problem. So Kyrie and then Warren. Go ahead, Kyrie.
Okay, mine is going to be fairly quick. I just wanted to thank Debbie and the committee for taking that initiative to go and draft up a letter. I too believe that a stop should be put to it, since everyone is saying that we don't know what exactly that we can do, because I do know this, and upon conducting my research too, it's like we're sitting in between a microwave. And in community CB9, it's ridiculous. I cannot believe one is a lot, but we have at least 2 to maybe 3, and they have plans on building even more of these towers that have crippled other communities across the world. So I do want to say, I do too agree with Debbie in the sense of this is not only an environmental protection issue. This is an issue for public safety. This is an issue for all of the city, let alone Brooklyn, and especially the entire CB9 community board. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Moses. I'm sorry, Warren, and then Ms. Moses, and then we'll have to move on.
Yeah, I just want to give Dante some guidance. This came up about 2 years ago, and the board was fully informed and there were public hearings. So Dante, when you do your research, go back in time. This is nothing new. It's been around for quite a while. And, you know, without having an opinion, is it good or is it bad? People at that point in time did not take the opportunity to give the comments they're giving now. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Moses.
Yes, I just wanted to say, I remember it from, I don't know how long, it has to be before Dante came on board. And I remember when they first brought it out. I don't remember which committee had it at that particular time. Yes, other committees may be involved, but I still think that the environmental committee needs to take the lead in this role. Now, however we're involved, then let us know, because we'll be there. But at the end of the day, you know, we really didn't hear any complaints until like recently about this 5G, because I heard about it, but I don't, as a matter of fact, even up to today, I don't even know where these towers are. So I'm not familiar as to where they are and in what community. So I don't know how that research can be done. Debbie and Dante, maybe you can find out in our district, because if they're going up, I don't even know where they're going up. So that's all I have to say. And Debbie, if we have to be involved, the ULUP, just let us know. We'll attend your meetings or whatever we have to do, you know, to show support. And then, so maybe we'll have something to present to the entire board. Thank you.
No, thank you. And just as a capper on that, and I think this is something that just really applies to all the committees, where I think that as we're doing the work, sometimes you will find that there are several touch points, you know, or potential touch points for a number of committees, multiple committees. But that doesn't preclude anybody from going on with what you have. And sometimes part of your report might be, you know what, and I heard it was a suggestion, it's like there might be a franchise issue in terms of land, you know, could be a potential land use, or maybe there's a franchise issue. We can have those additional conversations to figure out if there's additional touch points that we should be working on with respect to that. But otherwise, I just say continue, you know, your conversations. Let us know at which points, if there's information required, or if you know, if you were able to develop, the position for the board to take, along with what all the relevant facts are and everything else, so that we can make sure we push those through. But thanks to the committee for doing that, and let us know what you're coming up with and what we're doing. Okay, let me see. Who else do I see? Mr. Almanor. I'm trying to ignore you all this time, but you know, we got to come to you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to report on our committee meeting. We had a committee meeting last week on the 9th. The minutes, I just submitted the minutes a few minutes ago, but I just covered. We didn't have any voting item, but we had a presentation from Brooklyn Academy of Music, and they have a whole set of activities and programs that I think that the whole board should be about. What I would like to ask the board to see if we could have them present at the community, but I know the meeting is usually very packed, but I think what they have to offer, and if you go and see the YouTube video, that's one way you could get some of that information. Then I think it would be nice if then people could ask them to answer questions. And also we had a presentation from Brooklyn Museum, they're having quite a new outreach because they hired a new person as a community liaison, something they've never done before. So this was also a very comprehensive presentation. So I would encourage people to go and watch the YouTube video. And they are really trying to see if they could create good partnership within the community board. One of their main project is taking the museum out of the way it is and go to and bring it to each Consilmanic district. They're going to create a museum bus that will travel. And they had invited us to a meeting that took place where the board president came. I missed part of the meeting. One of the most important things that was that came out of that meeting is the fact the board president never entered a museum before.
Oh, wow.
So that was quite revelating because the museum have not done that outreach. Most people in our community don't feel they're welcome there. So this was interesting. So we are committed to work with them to bring a lot more because in our approach. So please do go watch the video of the meeting to get a lot more of that information. And our committee reports is that for the parks, we are putting together a visitation to the park for in next month within 2 Saturdays to visit and see for ourselves what conditions the parks are. I had the fortunate possibility to meet with the board commission of park because Councilwoman Rita Joseph brought him to a park that's near my house. So the three of us were together to see what's wrong with that park. And we exchanged numbers, and then we were looking forward to work with him, which is what Commissioner Mayor. And once we get our complete park assessment, which so I think I had CC Dante about that information. So we have now the Prospect Park Zoo also that's getting really involved in the community board. So they are one of their members is committed to attend every park meeting for the rest of the year, so that we will stay connected to that. They want to be able, they want to encourage members of the community to apply for jobs over there. And I urge them to be part of the internship fair that the youth committee is going to do in a couple of weeks. And we also talk about the activity being done by PLG Arts. They had received a grant from the Assemblyman Brian Coleman. They're having a lot of activity now. I don't know if people are aware, but I think most people are aware because their flyers is on the Friday e-blast. That's basically what we covered. It was mostly a report. There was no voting item, like I said before. So if you want more information, go watch the YouTube video and read the minutes that have been submitted to the board. And that's the end of my report.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions for the Chair of Parks and Rec? Ms. Moses, I see you. Are there any other questions?
Let me put up my hand, sorry.
Oh, Linda, okay. Okay, so Ms. Moses and Ms. Watson Lord. And we're gonna close on those and we'll move on. Go ahead, Ms. Moses.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, I know that the business, the eatery business are normally in Prospect Park. And I don't remember what the date of the opening was. You know, they have the vendors there for a period of time.
Smorgasbord.
Smorgasbord. I think they're going to go back. It was announced today. There was a meeting with the Prospect Park Alliance. If I didn't get a chance to attend, hopefully.
When are they? Okay, so when do they start the?
I don't have an exact date. I think they probably start on the same day for like they do every year.
Well, you know, I don't remember every year. I'm getting older now.
I'll take a look. I'll take a look back.
That information should be there in the Prospect Park
April 2nd.
April 2nd.
April 2nd.
Okay, so it starts April 2nd?
That's correct. And it goes through October 29th.
Thank you.
And it's on the Prospect Park website.
Okay, great. Okay, Ms. Watson.
Thanks.
Yeah, Mr. Almanar, during your presentation, you talk about the youth committee event. The event is this Saturday, the 25th.
Oh, yes, it is the 26th. I thought it was the 2nd.
I thought so too, but then I discovered a few days ago that
The
it
date
was
was moved. The date had to be moved.
Do they
It
have
had to
to
be
move?
moved. Yes.
Okay, I
We
know
had to
the
move it.
venue was moved. I didn't realize the date was moved, but I'll reach out to WCS to see if they can make sure they can make it because
Okay, thanks.
they're not that far. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Let's see. Fran, I know she's on, but I think she's indisposed right now. She's at a work assignment. But I think very briefly, I spoke with the chair of Health and Social Services. So I think the only update she had for this month was that her committee is still working on a mental health forum. So that is a project that that's in development. They're working in conjunction with the district office to put that together and get the logistics. So we'll be getting additional reporting on that, very shortly, I believe. Okay, so that covers health and social services. There are two more. And I think only because I don't see the chair of youth services here. That was the one item that we wanted to report on with respect to the youth, the jobs and internship fair. So that has actually been scheduled. That is, I believe, scheduled for this Saturday. Dante, do you have the information for that? Would you be able to report on that during your report?
Sure.
Okay, so we'll leave that. But the date is going to be on Saturday, the 25th, 25th, right? Yeah, I believe it's Saturday, 25th, right?
Yes.
Saturday, the 25th. So additional details will be discussed by the district manager during his report. I will have reports for two committees. So the first committee that I'm going to be giving a report for is on behalf of Education and Library. So the first thing I wanted to announce was the chair of Education and Library, Ms. Naomi Baptiste, had stepped down during the month. So first, I want to start off by saying I want to thank her. I thanked her, and I thank her publicly on behalf of the board for her service and contributions to the board and to the committee. So with that, we are in the process. I'm looking to hopefully appoint a chair for that committee as soon as possible to make sure that they have that they're able to continue on for the rest of the year. But with that said, I served as ad hoc chair for this month's meeting. And I want to say that it's really a fantastic committee. I think that really the spirit of the committee was in terms of making sure that they're doing some more information gathering in terms of understanding all the resources in the district, identifying and liaising with all the stakeholders. So some of the activities that are going to be going on are having conversations with our local school district, District 17, the high school superintendents as well, really making meaningful connections with Medgar Evers College, as well as Brooklyn Public Library. So the intent being, we want to make sure that CD9 is truly up to speed with regards to all the educational issues with regards to education in the district, talking K through 12, and as we have Medgar Evers in the district, what's going on the college level to make sure we're supporting as much as we can in terms of all those levels of education. There were a couple.
Question.
I'm sorry.
Ask you a question.
Sure. Go ahead.
Who's on that committee, and who are you trying to tap to go next? It feels like an important transition period.
That's the conversation that is being had, and that's the thing I need to look at in terms of that. I don't remember the names of the members offhand.
Celeste is on there, right?
I'm sorry?
Celeste Chase is on there.
Celeste Chase is on there. You are correct. I believe
Jamie,
Aaron Mazursky is on there.
Exene,
Jamie
yeah.
Exene is on there. There are a couple of resident members, and this is why I don't like to go down the list, because when I forget somebody, I don't work.
No, it's all good. You do have some good people on that committee, but I feel like there's also a lesson to be learned.
Yeah, and Naomi's still on the committee as well. So
in the appointment itself,
right.
the first time around. It's the executive committee. I assume we can speak candidly, but I feel like there's a lesson to be learned there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's always lessons to be learned, and I think it's just more in terms of I think that Ms. Naomi, Ms. Baptiste had thought it was better for her to step down at that time, but I think that the activities that they're taking up are good, and I think it really gets us in a good place in terms of making sure we're getting those connections with those entities in the district that we want to make sure that we're in touch with. We need to have good contacts with our school district. We need to have good contacts with the college. I think we need to do much better than that. I think it's really an opportunity both for them and for us. I think there are a lot of educational resources. There was a community member who was present, and she was telling us about a whole host of things that are available in terms of English as a second language. If there are adult learners, people want to go back to get high school diplomas or degree, or start, get on the process for degrees. So I think there's just a lot of stuff that we can get out of there, and we want to make sure that we're able to have that kind of conversation and then go on and and really be a clearinghouse for education in the district.
Good,
yeah.
Good politicians answer, Fred.
I was about to say so. I thought, Primo, you're right. I was just about to tell you.
Yeah, no, but the conversations are there. So, and we're having it, and and I think it really speaks to the whole idea, just in general. I think it's important for us to kind of sidebar, and we'll come right back. We want to make sure we're in the process of developing, capacity in the board. So, developing the leaders, making sure we're bringing these things in house, equipping people, and I think it's important for us as well, where it's like, what, the first and second year people, it's like, okay, giving opportunities, or or taking more mentorship in terms of these are the way we operate, and letting people know where things are. Because we're not all going to be here forever. There are term limits, and not everybody's going to stay for whatever. So it's important for us to do that and develop that as well. So all considerations. So I think that that's ultimately the start of that. Part of that is going to be some data gathering as well. So we're looking at trying to gather data in terms of the state of all those entities in the district, understanding where Medgar Evers stands currently, understanding the scores, and especially coming off of a pandemic, seeing where our schools are currently and what assistance is needed. So there's going to be a lot of that. I think it's going to be very interesting, and I definitely invite board members to come and participate in that. It's going to be very exciting. Yeah, so that's for education. There are no
Hi,
action.
it's Warren.
Linda.
Yeah, hello, Warren.
Hi, Fred. For education, I just want to bring to everybody's attention that the libraries are facing a $42 million cutback in terms of the new city budget.
Mhm.
And I have to tell you, the libraries are so important to our youth, adults, and in my case, seniors, that, they're sending out letters of support, but if you can find a way to support them, please send a letter or go to the library and get that letter, because it is just too important not to have input into. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr.
All right.
Chair, Mr.
yes.
Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
could we expect minutes from that meeting?
Yes, there will be minutes coming from that meeting as well. So yes, so you will have minutes from. You should have, or I believe you might already have from transportation, which I will cover next. If you do not have them already, you will have for education and library as well. Okay. All right. Let me ask this. So before I go on, are there any questions for education? I think that concludes my report, only for informational. Primo, you had that?
I have to run. I'm so sorry. Do you need anything from me?
No, you just have that one application, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll make sure that that's added.
An
to the agenda.
OCM potentially, if OCM is coming to present, which is, it's in your inbox, so.
Okay. So for this month or for next month?
I believe it was potentially for this month.
Did they say how long they need to present for? How long they would need?
They did not. So I have Mia CC'd on the email and Dante too, and Dante's been in contact with them. So if it is in fact for this month, we can get a quick communication going with them. I just don't remember if we had confirmed with them that it was supposed to be for this meeting.
Okay.
Maybe what we can do is, instead of have them give a presentation, have them do like 15 minutes of Q&A. And people can read the materials in advance because we have the materials.
Okay. I don't want to quite commit. I want to see what the agenda. It looks like we might have a little bit of bandwidth, but I don't want to say because I don't know how packed the agenda is yet.
I have a question, if I may.
Oh, yes.
Well, possible suggestion. Just taking into account their presentation and how lengthy it was, I think Primo was right the last time. Potentially, if we can ask them if we can reschedule a different day, or maybe they can do a Q&A during the general board meeting, that's a good idea. Or if we could set up a time that they would like to come in and present, and we open it up to the board and the public, because I think it is a really, really big deal. And that way it gives them more time, because I don't see them taking 10 minutes or 15 minutes based on last presentation and the questioning that followed.
All right, and we'll have to see, that'll be part of it. We'll look at it. Honestly, 15 minutes is probably way on the top end of what we would want to do in a board meeting, just because of the, the timing. And just because it's OCM and just because of the issues they're dealing with, I'm not sure I want to give them short shrift. I'd rather give them a lot more runway in terms of being able
That's
to do that.
fair. We did have pretty good representation at our public safety committee meeting, but we could hold a separate meeting entirely for them to come. So I think,
And that's a possibility. I mean, and maybe that's something we can discuss, because as big as it is, I don't want to necessarily leave it and say, listen, you get 5 minutes.
we could
Just
also
10 minutes, you know, that could just be
invite
one
them to
thing.
come back to the public safety committee one more time, which is what Dante likes. And what we could do then at the general board meeting is just give everyone that date and tell them, so we can have another large audience.
And that may work better. So if you want to dedicate a public safety committee meeting, that might work even better.
Look at
and
look
we
what
just
happens when we
publicize.
talk things through.
Yeah. And before you leave, and just so that we can I can just make sure that I'm addressing all the chairs as I have you here before you leave. So one of the things, and it was mentioned way earlier, it's important that, especially as the chairs, if you have events or if you have special components that are happening at a meeting, please make sure to highlight that. Make sure that comes to the top of it, so that way the district office team can even look at ways we spotlight that stuff in the communications. So I know that with no, not you specifically.
I'm kidding.
No, but what I'm saying is, no, but for example, if for next month, if that's going to be the move where OCM comes to discuss that, public safety committee, right top line, Office of Cannabis Management,
Understood.
presentation. So that way, it's folded in, but at the same time, we can spotlight it as necessary, and people can say, oh no, I want to go to that. Or especially if we have guests, or like people who are coming in, different agencies being represented or something like that, so that way people can kind of look at that and get a sense of what's going on in the district.
Understood.
But thank you for that. So let's do that. If we could push that, because I think it probably works better as part of
Let's
public
do
safety.
that. We'll do that. And if we can't get them into our meeting next month, we'll get them into our meeting the month after that. But we'll have them, and we'll make sure that everyone has adequate notice. So the only thing is we'd need to figure it out before our meeting next month, whatever it is, the next Tuesday, next week, sorry. So if we get it figured out by next Tuesday, we'll announce it at the meeting. If we can't get it figured out by next Tuesday, we'll push it to the next month. But thank you, everyone. I'll leave it to the executive members to do their thing.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Okay. All right. Any last questions for exec? Oh, I'm sorry, for education.
Transportation.
Well,
Sorry.
is there any more for education? Are we good with education? Okay. So now we're going to go to transportation. So transportation committee, we met last month. So a bunch of things have been going on. So firstly, I wanted to thank all those board members, and I wanted to thank the members of the transportation committee who came to the town hall that we had with regard to the Flatbush Avenue corridor bus lane proposal. It was really successful. I'm really, really proud of the board, of the committee, and I really think that there was some very good input and participation and engagement with the community. And these are the kinds of things I want to make sure that we're keeping up. So there were definitely a lot of questions and things that were put forth from there. So the committee's in the process of distilling that. Is in the process of distilling that. Yeah, is in the process of distilling that to just kind of make sure we have the questions that still need to be asked, and really start the process of kind of formulating what the issues are in the district. So there'll be additional work coming from the committee with respect to that. But again, I want to thank everyone who participated. Additionally, at our committee meeting, there was a conversation with regards to the Brooklyn bus network redesign. That is also coming. I want to thank the district office for reaching out to DOT and MTA. The original proposals were several hundred pages, so like 500-600 pages. So the district office was able to reach out to MTA, and they were able to send us a brochure that includes only those proposals that affect Community District 9. But with that, still there are some items of significance that we need to definitely do some more work around. I think there's a proposal around the 49 bus in terms of changing the southbound service, which is definitely going to have some impact. So we're looking to have some additional conversations with respect to that. There are a couple of bus lines that are coming in. And in general, I think that they were re-looking at the distances of bus stops as well, in terms of trying to get efficiency, in terms of there might be some stop eliminations. We want to look at those, take a holistic look at those, in terms of, while we understand the idea of you want to save costs by reducing the stops, there are definitely some stops that are absolutely necessary and required just because of where they're servicing. We want to avoid situations where you have seniors or other populations who have excessive travel just to get to public transportation. So those are conversations we want to have. We're looking at trying to create another town hall which would address the Brooklyn bus network, specifically with regards to the bus lines in CV9, Community District 9. So that's one of the things we're looking at with that. Additionally, we've had conversations with respect to Department of Transportation and just the number of issues in the district where DOT is particularly slow. And part of that is because of their process, but even in terms of their work, how they take in these requests, that it's a long tail in terms of when you receive requests, they take between a year, they can take a year to a year and a half just to do the requisite studies. But the problem is when they come back and deny you, they don't leave you any solutions to fix the problem you were trying to address to begin with. So in the committee, what we're doing is we're taking an initial look at the traffic calming toolkit. So we're getting a little bit more experience with that. But ultimately, we're also looking at trying to reach out to DOT and to the elected officials as well, with respect to making sure there's a better working relationship with DOT and seeing if there's a way to do this better, because it's just not working at this point. There are too many requests that don't get either that we don't get an answer in a timely fashion, or they're denied and we're in the same position we were in to begin with, and nothing changes, and it's a safety issue. Let me see. The last item I have in terms of the report for the Transportation Committee is there was, and this is an action item, is that there was a co-naming application which we were given. The co-naming is for, and pardon me one second. Let me bring it back up. The co-naming is for a portion of Crown Street between Troy Avenue and Albany Avenue to be renamed Tomche, and I apologize for butchering the name already, Tomche Teminum Way, after the school that is located near there. So we received petitions from the neighborhood, plus letters of support from various organizations and entities in support of that. The committee voted unanimously in support of the co-naming. So it is an action item before the executive committee this evening to approve the application to go for consideration before the full board. All right, so that is the one action item I have, and we'll discuss that. But I will take questions at this time for transportation.
Could you name the co-name? Could you spell the name, the new name for the co-naming street for me, please?
Absolutely. So the co-naming, the co-named, the co-naming will be, and I apologize if I'm butchering again the pronunciation, Tomche, Tomchei, Temimim, so that's Temimim Way. And that's for Crown Street between Troy and Albany Avenue.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay. All right. At this time, are there any questions with respect to the Transportation Committee report? Ms. Timothy, I see you. Anybody else who has a question? Okay, seeing none. Ms. Timothy, you got the floor.
So I'm assuming, or I want to know whether all of the protocols have been followed in terms of that renaming, because I know that there's a process in terms of that.
They have been. So, right. So in terms of that, so there were signatures that were submitted with respect to that, so a certain number of the residents. There were letters of support that were included as part of that package as well. Okay. And they came and presented before the Transportation Committee.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Are there any other questions? Okay. Seeing none. So there's that one action item for transportation. I saw one action item for public safety with regards to the liquor license application that we're going to be considering later on. For any of the other chairs, were there any other action items, things that we need to have on the agenda for this month? Okay. Oh,
I think maybe we want to add that 5G on there somewhere.
I mean, but what's the action item? Do you have something you want us to do, or?
Yes, absolutely.
What's the item? So what did you develop? Okay, hold on. What is the action item? What are we talking about? What are we looking at?
Well, I guess we want to know what is the position of the, of the board, or whether, the board is going to do something sooner than later, something to that effect.
Right. I think the challenge, the only reason why I say that is what I think the expectation is that we would actually get a recommendation in terms of what the committee thinks are the best actions at this point based on the information you have. So I think really the you know, not to twist it back on you, but we would want for you to kind of develop that and just say, spell it out. This is what we're looking for the committee to do. And typically we ask for that to be voted out of committee. So once your committee votes on that, there's a quorum, you vote on it, it comes to the exec, we can look at it, and then we promote it to the full board. Because otherwise we're gonna have a whole bunch of questions at the board meeting.
Okay, no problem.
Okay,
Well,
thank you. I'm sorry. Do we lose Kyrie? Okay, I think we lost Kyrie. Ms. Moses, did you have something?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think it should Debbie, I think it should you need to bring it forth in your committee and do whatever you gotta do to bring as many people as you can into your committee and then bring it forward. Because this is my problem I have. Committees are like, they want to just go forward, but you're in chair. So whatever you can, you know, bring together and then bring it forward. That's how I see it.
Okay, all right, thank you for that.
Hey, this is Warren. I agree with Pat. I mean, the committee should be taking a position on this. Do we want 5G? Do we not want 5G? If the locations aren't acceptable, where should they be? And this is all considering that this is being built. So, I mean, the committee should really move quickly so we can bring it before the board. Thank you.
Oh. Okay, so when I made my presentation, I came up with something. So I guess we are going to discuss that further and present it. Thank you.
Perfect.
Yeah, but Deb, you have to do some research too. And then whatever you
Yeah,
gotta do.
I was just gonna say, because make sure, because
Yeah,
you know,
even
the one
if
thing
you-
we don't. Yeah.
Right, I'm just sorry. Even if you got to turn around and bring somebody in, you know, to talk about it.
We've already done that. Well, we had
Well,
guests that we
evidently
did.
not, because the community is not aware of it.
Well, the other thing, I guess, I think we're all agreeing at this point, I think, you know, and the chair has agreed. So in the committee, just make sure that you have outlined the points in terms of the action items specifically you want to take, plus whatever information that's based on. So I just want to make sure that this is an information based and just for everyone, and you know, edification as well. What I prefer to do is as a resolution. So the first part of a resolution is whereas. What are the facts of the matters we understand? And then that final part of that is resolved. CB9 does 1, 2, 3, or whoever needs to do what it is, you know, whatever the action item that we expect from that. Because it clarifies the issues, it states the facts as we understand them, and is very specific in terms of what are we asking for at the end of that with the resolution. Okay, and we can talk offline. So if that's something that you want to talk about, we can talk about the structure of that and the questions that you would want to make sure you have developed. So that way, when we get here, because especially when you do that, it really kind of, you know, it lays out the argument so that way everybody has that, and it minimizes the questions, because that's part of the problem. If we bring it straight to the board, everybody's gonna have questions, and it's going to be probably more questions than we have answers to, and that's not a good use of the board's time for that.
No, but what I was saying is that when she's bringing forward whatever it is that she's doing with the community, that it's announced through, you know, through the office, so that the people from the community can come and give her their feedback, because she doesn't know what's going on in terms of the feedback within the community, because we have to announce it so that the people from the community can come in. That's what I'm saying to Debbie, that if they don't come in, we're just saying stuff. But once you can get the people to come in from the community, from our district, then that's when you're going to get a lot of what's going on.
No, because Ms. Weisenthal spoke about that earlier. She was requesting information that was sent to the board from OTI, and she hasn't received a response. So it means that information was also to include the community in terms of, you know, a hearing in terms of that, the issue of the 5G.
Well,
So
there's-
we
there's
need
that
to,
procedural-
if the board is
if I
saying
can, yeah.
that
But,
they're
okay,
working on things.
Hold on,
I'm not
hold on.
gonna take it any further. All I was
Right.
just saying, let me just make my point. I'm not gonna take it any further. She's only one person. All I'm saying is that when you open it up, you're gonna
Mhm.
get 50 people. She's one person. You gotta open it up to a community where people are talking. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
That's it.
The only, yeah, and the only piece I wanted to add to that, is this. That's the procedural piece of that is being taken care of. The district manager is already getting the information in terms of the procedural, what notice was given, what were the responses. Did the board meet? Did the board have a hearing? What came out of the hearing? And all these other things, those pieces will come. I think right now, and what's perhaps more useful, is what are the questions or concerns that are based on the facts that we know. So in terms of, if it's a question of franchises, if it's a question of safety, if it's a question of those things, those are the things that should be spelled out as part of the resolution. So
Okay,
whereas
so
there are
it's-
concerns about
so-
radiation and so on and so forth.
Yeah, so it has to do with safety and the research that's out there. So,
Right.
yeah, so that's what the focus is on.
Okay. And so let's do this. Let's talk offline too, because I just want to make sure that, if there's information or, request for information you got to get, let's get those. So that way you'll have that hopefully by the time your committee meets again, so that way you can formulate whatever you need to do. Okay?
Excuse me.
All right.
Hello. My apologies. In the midst of speaking, my phone died. I'm not sure if we came to an agreement about the motion that should be put or on the agenda to discuss 5G, but I wanted to reiterate that it should be on the agenda, at least to the capacity of, if we have to vote on something, maybe collectively, we can vote as a community board to endorse Debbie and her letter, and the letter that their committee is pushing forth to just stop everything. So seeing as we don't know much about it, we definitely still need to have this on the agenda to speak, and maybe we can just vote to support this letter from all members, not just their committee, to just put a stop to it.
I think where we've come out with this is that there's no letter for us to endorse to come before the board to discuss. So where it's at is the committee is going to do the work in terms of developing that letter, and that'll be considered by the exec and by the board. But it's not ready for us to discuss as an exec or as a
Would it be ready by next Tuesday? Is that by our
no,
next
but
meeting?
the other thing is too, it's not something that should be done through the board. That should go through the committee process. The
Okay,
committee
well,
needs
I
take
want to
care
say
of-
this, Fred. I notice every time I definitely still want to see why that this won't be a topic of discussion, or even if it's opened up to get everyone else's opinions on the agenda, because
it's not an efficient use of 38 people's time to discuss this for 20 minutes.
I
to a half
noticed
an
that
hour.
every time we have an
Okay,
issue or
Kyrie,
someone wants to
Kyrie,
speak against you,
it's-
you
it's-
decide
it's
and for
not against
everyone what
me.
to do.
I don't
I
own the
don't
5 Link
understand.
Towers. I don't own the 5 Link Towers. This is not against me.
No,
What
but
we
you
are
don't
going
own
to
the
do is-
community board either. And if other
And-
members
and-
want to discuss something, we
and-
should bring it to
and-
the board.
And we're not going to have a waste of time in terms of 20 minutes, and there's going to be requests for information and other things that we don't have. So we go through the committee process, they will develop all those things and come back with recommendations, at which point the committee the board will consider. All right, Ms. Watson Lord, and then we're going to move on.
Yeah, I just wanted, I agree with Ms. Moses, right? And I just wanted to share that I think it was last month or January, we had about 3 people who came and talked about this. So we can find those 3 people, because they came with solid, not nobody tell me, and you know. So
Oh, no,
we could,
they appeared at our last meeting. Those 3
Yes,
people appeared at
yes,
our last meeting.
yes. So we got, so you at
so
least
we,
you got
so we got information.
right. Good, thanks.
Okay,
Thank you.
so, and that's fine. All right, okay, so we are going to move on. Are there any other committee chairs that did not report? And I apologize in advance if I skipped you. Okay, so those are all those. There are the 2 action items that we have with those that we'll vote on those momentarily after we complete the reports. So at this point, we're at the DM check-in. Dante, you have a report about from the district office?
Yes, give me 1 second. I do 2 screens here. All right, good evening, everyone. The citywide statement of needs, our public hearing is going to be next week prior to the general board at 6:30. The information is on the board website. The agenda for it is on the board website. Also, the statement of needs is in the news section of the board website. It's been sent out. We will also put the notice in our weekly e-blasts. We always do. So just look out for that information. Again, the document is in the news section of the board website, so you can obtain that there. Next, as mentioned before, the Youth Services Committee is going to be hosting an internship and career fair this Saturday, March 25th from 12 to 3 at the Prospect Heights High School, I believe, which is located at 883 Classen Ave. The event is going to take place in the cafeteria. So folks need to bring their social security card ID, some type of identification, their resume if they have one. For more information, they can call the board office and we'll connect them to the chair of Youth Services for more information on the event. Also, you've been seeing emails go out in different form or fashion. The New York, New Jersey Harbor is doing their public comment period. It has extended to March 31st. I believe that they recently had a public hearing, so I hope people were able to make it out to that. We'll send out the information for that, for the public comment, because I believe that you can still submit written public comment. I will send that out again. Give people a chance if they're going to provide a written comment. They can do that via email, so that all the information will be in the email. The City of Yes, DCP, they did have a info session on the 20th. Their next info session will be on March 28th. It starts at 7 p.m. The links will be in our e-blast. We will send it out to the board again. It will be, as I mentioned, in our e-blast. So please direct people to it. If anyone's interested in participating or going to that, have them reach out to the board office and we'll send them the information. Also, the Empire State Development has scheduled a public hearing for the Utica Crescent mixed use project. That public hearing is going to be April 12th from 6 to 8 p.m. via Zoom. That information's in our e-blast. We will continue to send that out up until that public hearing. The Department of Consumer and Worker Protection, DCWP. Let's see right here. Yes. Now New Yorkers can keep their full refund, including valuable tax credits like enhanced NYC earned income tax credit at no cost to them. Single filers, New Yorkers who earned $56,000 or less in 2022, or families that earned $80,000 or less may be eligible. So if you're interested in that information, let us know and I will connect you to the Department of Consumer Affairs. With that said, tax day this year is, I believe it is April 18th or 19th. We do have a free tax prep workshop scheduled with DCWP coming up on the 30th at 7 p.m. If you know of anyone who may need this information about what types of services they're going to provide, have them come to the workshop. That information will be in our e-blast, and then it's also on our website, on our calendar as well. But again, that's coming up the 30th. Also, a moratorium on the issuance of business sign violations has been extended to February 9th, 2025. Until that date, DOB will not issue violations for business storefront signs that existed before February 9th, 2019, and neither exceed 150 square feet in area, nor exceed 1,200 pounds in weight, unless the sign creates an imminent threat to public safety or public health. So if you know of any business owners who may be going through an issue like this, have them reach out to the board office. This is extremely important. If any business owners have received violations, they should not have. So we want to make sure that that gets taken care of. But if you know of any business owners, please pass that information along as well. Something that came to my attention very recently is that Crown Gardens across the street from the board office is going to be going through a rather significant rent increase effective April 1st. I've been working with Council Member Crystal Hudson's office to get HPD SCREE over to Crown Gardens to do a workshop. It looks like we're going to be able to get them there, I think on April 1st, but that's not completely confirmed, but they are going to be there. If we schedule a date past April 1st, I do know that it will be retroactive, but we're looking to get, we will get HPD there to do that workshop. So if you know of any residents that live in Crown Gardens already, just let them know to be aware that that's coming. I'm going to continue to work with Crystal Hudson's office to see exactly what the best way, and HPD to see exactly what the proper way is of notifying folks who live in a Mitchell-Lama, because it's a city supervised Mitchell-Lama. As you know, I used to work in that division, so I'm going to be working extremely close with them to make sure this comes to fruition. So just if you know of anyone who lives in that development, have them reach out to the board office, but we will disseminate that information once we finalize that. Also, I've been working with representatives from HRA and HPD to get them into the district on a more routine basis. Something that I see is, you know, folks need assistance with maybe a SNAP application, cash assistance application, so on and so forth, and they have to travel a distance. And then sometimes, you know, just because of the pandemic, how everything has changed, those locations are closed. And so what I'm trying to do, I think I'm very close. I just have to solidify, just have to confirm it with the library, but we're looking to get HRA out at the Crown Heights Library every last Friday of the month from like 10 to 3. That's going to be like on an appointment basis, but as details are finalized, I will inform everyone of that. So I'm very pleased to announce that. That partnership, and then also working with HPD to get their mobile unit out at very strategic locations across the district. I know that we have large developments in our district, so you can expect to see this mobile unit at Ebbets Field, Harry Silver, Tivoli, other locations throughout the district to connect people directly to those services. So that's going to be on like a bi-monthly basis. But that is solidified, so I'm working to work on that, the marketing for that. But I'm very pleased to announce that partnership with HPD as well. Next on my report, we are finalized again to be an SYP work site. I'm very pleased that they've invited us back. We're looking to get a couple of participants in the board office over the summer to help us kind of build out some of the things we want to do in the summer and into the fall. So just look out for that during the summer. And then actually, I think that is actually the finality of my, and also all the committee chairs should have received an email from me inquiring if you had any questions for the district service cabinet, which will be next week prior to the general board meeting. If you could send me those questions, preferably like ASAP, so I can get those over to the agencies so they can actually give me a response in the meeting. That would be most helpful. But again, I think you all have heard the criticisms tonight. They are duly noted. I will work with the team, speak to the team to correct those issues. But again, that's the finality of my report. And I just wanted to let everyone know, because this has been just a great meeting. This is actually my 2-year mark. So it's been a pleasure being here with you all for 2 years.
Wow.
2 years already. Okay, all right.
Oh, our times fly, huh? Congratulations.
Absolutely. Congratulations, sir.
I didn't
Congratulations.
realize it was 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, you make it feel so much longer.
Fast.
No, but thank you so much for your great service, and you know, for the impact you made over the board in a very short period of time. Okay. All right. So we have the district manager's report. Are there any questions for the DM?
Yes, it's Warren.
Okay.
First, because of Dante's last comment, I want to congratulate him. I think that our board and our administration has not been in better shape for years. And I certainly remember the disarray that we really endured for years. And I just want to thank Dante for straightening that out and really just putting in a professional administrative staff that deals with, which is our most important point as a community board, of dealing with our residents' problems. The second thing is just some suggestions for next month. I think we should hear a little about what's going on with the spring fling, or whatever it's called, the community board's annual spring, so we can start planning that. And that is really it. Thank you.
Okay. With regards to that point, I will actually touch on it very briefly, but absolutely it's on the radar with regards to the community fair. Okay, so Ms. Watson, Lord, I'll see you. Ms. Moses, I'll see you, and then I have appointments up.
All right, I think my computer touched the wrong thing.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Moses.
Yes, Dante, can you give Debbie my cell number so that her and I can talk offline? Is that okay, if that's okay with her?
Debbie, is that good?
Yeah, I want Debbie to have my cell number.
All
So
right,
she can call me. I need hers too.
Debbie.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank
Perfect.
you.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So my question, thank you very much. Well, again, congratulations on the anniversary. My question I have, only because when you mentioned tax time and a whole bunch of other things, I think this is around the time of the year where the tax lien comes out. Is that something that's still out? Have we heard anything with respect to that? And I think we can think of it in year one. I think one of the things you were successful with was getting that partnership with Department of Finance, being able to have people come in and talk.
That's actually a very good question. So the tax lien, the New York City Council actually didn't renew it, so it's no longer a program. I actually inquired with Crystal Hudson's office to see what is next, what they're looking at. Nothing has come up. Obviously, it's political, but yeah, I was preparing to do a tax lien event, but it looks like that program no longer exists. So I guess just the folks who are on the last, I think it was 2021 is the last tax lien that they did. I guess folks who are on that list, they could definitely reach out to the board office and we could connect with finance to make sure that they're squared away, but that program no longer exists.
Okay, but well, and let me offer this as well. And if I could ask if you could look into that, because obviously, the program itself is gone, but I think there are still people who are in arrears with the city, and you don't want it to be replaced with something else. If nothing else, I think if you could reach out, if we do something similar to what we did last year, reach out to Department of Finance, and if it might be a program we can co-host in conjunction with DOF, maybe it's something good where it's like, before people get any deeper into it, at least they can understand where they are, what the current status is, and if there are any resources out there, hopefully start connecting them before it becomes an issue and all of a sudden, the tax lien program comes back or something else that affects their ability to keep their homes.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Okay.
All right, thank you very much for that, much appreciated. Okay, all right, so with that concludes the DM's report. So I will go into my report at this time. My report is going to be relatively brief this evening, as I think many of the points have been covered through the committee chair reports and the district office report. One, I just want to talk about membership. So I want to thank the district office and I want to thank all the chairs who've been reaching out. So one of the things we've been doing is definitely starting to clean rosters in terms of making sure, I think, we've had a number of people who resigned from the board and left. We've been looking at particularly resident members, if they are not participating, starting that process of getting them off as well. But I think one of the things we're looking forward to as well is I know Borough Hall is in the process of doing interviews and looking at new members. So one of the things, we're looking forward to that. I think we want to make sure we definitely have a program for an orientation when they get here as well, to welcome the new members and to hopefully get them up to speed as quickly as possible in terms of who we are as a board and, and the expectations, and hopefully helping them be as productive as possible, as quickly as possible. So that'll be something that's coming forward. And when we have additional news in terms of reappointments and appointments to the board, we'll try and share it as best as we can. So yeah, I had alluded to it earlier about non-responsive agencies. One of the requests that I'm making for all chairs is if you have agencies that you are trying to work with or need to speak to, please make sure you let us know. And particularly if there have been problems getting them to attend the meetings, let us know that as well. One of the things that by charter is that the board does have the ability to request agencies send representatives to us to ask questions and to discuss service issues or policy issues as necessary. Some agencies have been harder to deal with than others, but we want to make sure that we're doing that process and we're actually documenting the outreach and the non-responsiveness as well, so that way we can address as appropriate or bring other people to help address the issues. But that is something that they are supposed to do. That's how we do our work. That's how we get the information. That's how we're able to get the information to them about the issues in the district. So we want to begin to address that. I want to thank the ULURP chair again for all the items that they're addressing, and you see that they're starting to mount. We've already got Nostrand Avenue. The fresh application is in the pipeline. City of Yes, the text amendments, those are coming down. The district manager, and I believe the chair might have also mentioned some of the dates that are coming up. Encouraging board members to please make sure you attend those. Some of these issues can be, in-depth and complex, but we're gonna have to make a decision on them. So we're requesting that board members please make every opportunity to attend these meetings, to ask the questions, and to find the appropriate resources to get the information. One of the things I've talked to the district office about doing is trying to actually do a ULURP training. So we're in the process of trying to see if we can get that done for the board. Hopefully, I'm not sure, depending on what time the new members get in, hopefully they'll be able to take advantage of that, but we want to begin that process in terms, we want to make sure that everyone has at least a good fundamental understanding of the ULURP process, the land use process itself. The community fair, that was brought up earlier. So, the district office is in the process of compiling the information and starting to create budgets and reach out for resources. It's imperative as a committee, if you have not done so already, please make sure as part of your next meeting, you have a discussion in terms of the events you want to do, the resources that are going to be required, and please submit the budget forms as quickly as possible. We're really probably past due with that, but we need that information because the district office is going to have to start identifying budget. It's going to have to start contacting resources. If we've got to go beg elected officials, I need to, know early so that way I can start buttering them up as much as I can right now. But that process has to happen. So please make sure utilize the budget forms because it really helps for us to understand fully what the objective is and the intent of what you're trying to accomplish. If there are resources, if there are program pieces, how much it will cost, what things are you looking to do, so that way we can put dollars to things and we can start planning effectively. Education and library, I made a brief, statement about that. So again, I wanted to thank the chair, Naomi Baptiste, for her service, and we are moving on as well. I think there's definitely a lot of things that we're going to be able to do, and even more than just education and library. I encourage all the committees to make sure, if we haven't done so already, I think we're in pretty good positions, most of us, but let's make sure we are reaching out to the relevant city agencies as well that we should be working with. Those are the working relationships we want to have. We want to make sure we're engaging stakeholders. So if there are schools, businesses, organizations, community groups that we should be interacting with, please make sure to let us know as a district office. Part of the job of the district office is as well to identify those resources and where they are, so that way we can work more effectively and we can make sure we're expanding our network, so that we get the feedback and the engagement that we're trying to get. Treasurer elections. So as of March 10th, our treasurer, Mr. Christian Lebeau, his resignation was effective. So, you know, he's not here, but I definitely want to make sure publicly I thank him again for his service to this board and his impact that he's made in a very short period of time as well. So that leaves for us the job, the task of filling the treasurer position. This is kind of ironic because the treasurer position, this month I intend at the board meeting to impanel a nominations committee, which will perform the canvas. At the next month, they are expected to, canvass the board to find out if there's anyone else who wants to run. And then at the subsequent meeting, they are supposed to actually conduct an election, which brings us 1 month before we would normally have our board elections. So there's a little bit of an irony with respect to that, but we fully expect to follow this process and to continue on. And we will be following that. And I definitely encourage members who are looking at that, serving in that capacity to reach out or to at least identify themselves to the nominations committee at the appropriate time once they're impaneled. Okay. The one piece that I also want to bring in is with respect to the bylaws. So we've been considering the bylaws for the last couple of months. So the month prior, I think we were able to consider 2 or 3 bylaws. Last month, because of time considerations, we had tabled consideration. We are going to have a very busy agenda for the next couple of months at least, which is going to impact our ability to really consider the bylaws amendments and to take action on them one way or another. So one of the things that I am contemplating is perhaps it may be better served for us to actually have a meeting, a special meeting that is dedicated solely to that. So that is the only agenda item in which we're able to address those and make sure that the bylaws are in a particular shape. So that way, by the time we close the year out, we are fully aware of where we stand in terms of what our governing document is. So the timing of that is something that has to be considered. I want to make sure we have a number of events that are happening that are very critical over the next couple of months. So I want to make sure, so we're looking at possibly in the April timeframe, more likely in the May, but we're going to be looking at calendar dates and seeing what obligations we have as a board and seeing what's going to work best. But the idea being that, we want to make sure that we dedicate the appropriate time to make the appropriate adjustments to our governing document and make sure that the board is in a position to proceed and operate effectively and efficiently. So there'll be further conversation with that, I guess, in the coming weeks. That concludes. And again, I just want to remind everyone again about the transportation issues of the B41 Flatbush corridor. So that is going to be additional conversations. You'll probably be seeing additional outreach with respect to that. Absolutely, with the Brooklyn Bus Network, we're looking at convening a town hall with respect to that. And again, that'll be something that we're working through the district office in terms of being able to schedule that and hopefully begin that engagement with the district. All right, and with that, that concludes my my chairperson's report. There are no action items in that report for this month. I will take questions. Ms. Moses, we see.
And I'm addressing this to the executive committee. I'm still troubled about attendance. And I still think that is very unfair that even as chairs, we attend and other people don't. And I don't think that that's right. And I think that I think things should be even across the board. And I think that, and I'm addressing this specifically to not to the chair, but to the executive committee, because to me, the executive committee oversees all of us. So I don't understand why the executive committee doesn't vote to talk to the chairs of those committees, even remove them if possible. Because at the end of the day, I understand that as the chair, Fred, you appoint, but the executive can remove them. And I just really can't get my mind around what's going on. I've never seen an executive committee that does not look at what the chairs do. And the chairs are getting away with murder. And so therefore, that's why the other people are not even showing up. I don't even know who's on the board anymore. It's ridiculous. And so I would like the executive committee to oversee the chairs like they used to, because this is crazy. I don't mean to be emotional, but I can't take it anymore. If I'm showing up and ain't nobody showing up and they think they got like 1 minute or 2 minutes, it's not fair. Now, I'm addressing that to you, Fred, because you're the chair. I think the executive committee needs to step up and do some voting like it's supposed to do, because that's why they're here. They're there to oversee us and the rest of the board.
If I can qualify that a little bit, absolutely, the job of the exec is to oversee the committees, the operation of the committees, and make sure that we understand from a level in terms of what's going on and approving those things that need to go into the full board and making those recommendations. The only qualification with that is in terms of the chairs. If the chairs aren't doing anything that per the bylaws, that's a chairperson job. So that buck would stop with me in terms of making sure if the chairs are not there or doing what they need to do. That's something, a conversation that has to be had, and ultimately, if it's required, I would have to make the move to make a change in terms of leadership.
No, I understand that, Fred. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you is that, okay, so you may have appointed the chairs, but at the end of the day, you have an executive committee who should agree with what you're saying. So you have to present it to them. That's how I'm looking at it. Because whatever's going on now, it shouldn't be going on. And I hold the executive committee responsible, because they've always been responsible.
Okay, noted. Ms. Timothy.
To Pat's concern about who's on the board, shouldn't there be a list of all the board members on the website?
That list does exist, and it is actually up and current. I think the one update I would make is that I think from in the last month, last 30 to 45 days, I would say, we have had 5 members who have stepped down, who are no longer on the board. And in terms of the membership of the committees, we've had a number of people who have been removed from rosters as well. So the numbers that are there are much smaller. And like I said, in terms of the resignations, some of that is just because obviously, I think most of those were because they didn't have the time commitments in terms of being able to do that. So they moved on. And I think in terms of the resident members, those are conversations we've been having with chairs. And we said, give us the names. And because I think per our bylaws, the recommendation to remove comes from the committee chairs, at which point, as long as I concur with them, they're off. And I don't think I've had an issue in terms of there was a recommendation that wasn't approved. And I continue to ask the chairs, if there are members who are not showing up and the attendance is not satisfactory, to please let the district office know, to please let me know. And just in terms of the communication, please make it a formal communication by email to me, CC the district office with a request and the names of who it is and what is the attendance. And it's that easy and that quick, and can be done in terms of you'll get the response saying they're being removed. Okay, Kyrie, I see your hand.
Yes, just with regards to the membership, I noticed too that, some members have stepped down and chairs and whatnot. But in interest of next week's board meeting, if this list, this roster can be updated online, that way we understand and know just for quorum purposes. So when we have to vote next week and everything, everyone would be able to know, or just look online. Because if you said 5 members, and then I believe if there were other members appointed that were resident members that had an opportunity to vote, we don't know if we'll ever have quorum. So,
right, for board members, it's current. No, that is current. On the board website, it is current.
Oh, I did you say, okay.
No, the board website is current. That is the latest and greatest version of who's on the board at this time. The committee members should be relatively clean at this point, but if you as chairs see members who are there who should not be there, if there are chairs who see members who should not be there, or we know that there are attendance issues and it needs to be rectified, that's why I make the point to say, please make sure you send that email to the district office, well, to me specifically, CCing the district office saying that these people have attendance issues, and we can proceed from there in terms of if it's conversations or if it's okay, fine, they're removed, and we will make sure we clean the rosters out. The rosters will be cleaned. Okay. All right. Are there any other questions? Okay. Seeing none. We are now going to move on to the next item, which will be setting the agenda. Before we do that, so we have two items that we want to make sure that that we address. So I think the first one was there is a liquor license application for public safety that was addressed by the committee chair. Now, I believe what he said was that I think the committee had there was some information that was missing that the applicant is supposed to provide, but otherwise the committee was in favor. So it was a conditional approval of the liquor license application. We can, just to make sure that they are on the agenda, approve that as well. And obviously, if they do not satisfy the conditions as set by the committee, they will be removed and they won't consider their application at the meeting. So with that being said, Dante, could you give us the name? Do you have the information? Or Kyla, do you have the information for the applicant for the liquor license?
1 second.
Okay. All right, so I'll tell you what, while you look for that, let me go on to the next one. The second item for action item was from transportation. That was with regards to the co-naming for Tamche Temem, butchering, I'm sure, for Crown Street between Albany and Troy, Troy and Albany Avenues. So that was considered by the committee. The requisite materials were provided, and the committee had decided unanimously to forward to the full board for consideration. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to adopt that recommendation and put it before the board for the March meeting. Do I have a motion?
So made.
I have it moved by Warren Burke. Do I have a second?
Second. Nicholas Alvarado.
Seconded by Nicholas Almanor. It's been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? Okay, hearing none. And for the record, so Madam Secretary, just to make sure we have it, for attendance, First Chair Warren Burke present. First Chair Warren Burke.
Yes.
No, you present? No, just do a quick
I
attendance.
mean, yes, I'm present, Fred.
Okay, thank you. Second Vice Chair Francisco Leopold.
She started the meeting and she's still there.
Yes,
but
she is.
She says she
Okay.
can't.
Okay. All right. Second Vice Chair Francisco Leopold is present. Secretary Linda Watson Lord.
Present.
Member at Large Nicholas Almanor.
Present.
Member at Large Kyrie Aline.
Present.
Okay. We have a quorum. All right. So back to the vote. So we have a motion on the floor has been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any members in opposition? Please state your name for the record. Any members in opposition? Please state your name for the record. Please record no members in opposition. Are there any members who wish to abstain? Please state your name for the record. Are there any members who wish to abstain? Please state your name for the record. Okay, hearing no abstentions, the motion passes unanimously. Please record as unanimous vote. Okay, going on to the other action item. Dante, do you have the applicant for the liquor license?
Yes, I have it. I have the thing.
Okay. Who's
All
the
right.
applicant? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, the applicant. IGR Holdings LLC.
Okay, IGR Holdings LLC.
Yeah, that's for Patrick Steakhouse.
Right, that's it.
Okay, and where are they located?
227 Rogers.
227 Rogers. And what is the license?
Beer, wine, beer, and cider.
Okay, so full license.
Full.
Okay, full license then. All right.
Renewal.
Yeah, this is a renewal. I'm sorry. Thank
That's
you for
correct. It is a renewal.
Okay. All right. So the vote of the committee was to forward to the full board for approval. Do I have a motion to adopt that recommendation and move to the full board.
I have a motion to
They're supposed
adopt.
to provide, aren't they supposed to provide something, a draft plan or something
Yeah.
like that?
Yes, they will.
Yeah.
And if they don't, we just won't allow them to, we won't take the
Yeah.
vote.
All right, I'll
Yeah,
check.
can we put them on the agenda, and if not, they'll be removed.
All right,
Yes.
perfect.
All right, so Kyrie, I'm sorry, were you making a motion to put them on?
Yes, I would like to make a motion to
Okay.
move this.
All right, so it's moved by Kyrie Aline. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Nicholas Almanor. It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Okay, good. The one item is this will be provisional. So as long as they supply all the information by the deadline, they will be considered. If not, they will be removed from the agenda for the month. Okay, so with that, we will call the question. All those members of the exec in favor of the motion as stated, please say aye.
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 All right. Are there any members in opposition? Please state your name for the record. Are there any members in opposition? Please state your name for the record. I hear no one in opposition. Are there any members who wish to abstain from the vote? Please state your name for the record. I call for a second time. Are there any members who wish to abstain from the vote at this time? Please state your name for the record. Okay, hearing none, Madam Secretary, please record it as a unanimous vote in favor of the motion. That we move to the.
So done.
Okay, all right then. So the next item of business is to create the agenda for this month coming. All right, so we're going to open public session. Well, actually, we're starting with the. I'm sorry, we're starting with the statement of needs hearing, correct?
Correct.
Okay, statement of needs hearing, which begins at 6:30.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right, at the conclusion of that hearing, we are going to go into the business session. The public session, I'm sorry. All right, are there any presentations that need to be done this month? I think Primo, we're moving his to his committee meeting. Are there any presentations that need to be done for this month? Okay, not hearing any. Yeah, Dante, do we have any presentations?
Actually, possibly Bridge Street.
Bridge Street?
Yes,
All right.
I'll confirm, but possibly Bridge Street.
Yeah, Dante, is that about what they presented at the Economic Development Committee meeting?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Of course.
All right, Bridge Street. Please let the presenter know they have 7 minutes. To keep 7 to 10 minutes, no longer than 10 minutes.
All right. All right.
Okay. All right. So that's presentation. Then we will have I'm sorry, transportation. You know, we'll have the SLA application. Then we will have the street co-naming application. Then we will have public commentary. After which we will have acknowledgements. Then we will go into the business session. We will have roll call. We'll have approval of minutes. Then we will have, committee reports. Then we'll have the DM report. Then we will have the chair's report. Sub bullet under there, we're going to include No, actually, there's no reason for that. I'll take care of that. Chairman's report. After that, we will have voting items, which will include the two applications. It should be the SLA and the transportation, the Rico naming. After which, if any old business, yeah, so I'm sorry, not old, unfinished business, new business, and then an adjournment. And then adjourn. Are there any items that need to be included as part of this? Are there any other items missing from this agenda? Okay.
No.
Okay, hearing none. At this time, I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as stated.
So move, sir.
Moved by Linda Watson Lord. Is there a second to adopt the agenda?
Second.
Seconded by Warren Burke. All right, any other questions with regards to the agenda? Okay, hearing none. We're going to call the vote. All members in favor of adopting the agenda as stated, please say aye.
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 All right.
Unanimous.
Are there any? Well, we gotta make sure. Are there any? I gotta call for it. Are there any members who are opposed to adopting the agenda as stated? Okay.
Just want
Call for
to give my eye to approve.
Yes, ma'am.
I just unmute myself.
No worries.
Who is that?
Still on the road.
Don't get hurt, Warren. Don't get hurt now. All right. I hear no no's. Are there any abstentions? Anyone who wishes to abstain from the vote to adopt the agenda? I call for a second time. Anyone who wishes to abstain? Okay. Hearing none, the agenda stands as adopted by unanimous vote. Okay. All right. So we are now at
Other business.
yeah. Oh, other business. Is there any other business to be considered by the executive committee at this time? Go for a second time. Is there any other business for the executive committee to consider? Okay, hearing none. We have completed our agenda. I want to thank everyone for joining this evening. Remember, our executive committee is late this month, but we are meeting on time next week, Tuesday. That is the 28th, correct?
Yeah, Fred, could you tell us why we're late this month? Is it because of the holidays?
No, there was a conflict with the executive for the executive committee date, so that we have to move it.
Okay.
Yeah. So we will be meeting as regularly scheduled. Actually, no, I take it back. We are convening at 6:30 because we are going to be having the hearing on the statement of needs. So that'll be convening at 6:30. Once that completes, we are going directly into our meeting for the board. I would encourage all board members to please try and attend that meeting as well so they can give feedback with regards to the statement of needs. As the district manager had indicated, so that is available. We will make sure the district office sends it out again so that way everyone has a copy if you do not already have that. Okay, and with that being said, I want to thank everyone again for your diligent attention to the meeting, and we're continuing to work together to get stronger as a board. At this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Excuse me, Fred. I
Yes,
just
sir.
wanted to state that for April, because of Passover and Easter, that meeting times will change, and that the board is not all over everything. It's due to the pressure of observing the holidays. Thank you.
No, thank you for that point, and we'll make sure we make that announcement at the board meeting in terms of watching those dates, because a lot of committee meetings will be changing in April. But thank you for that point. Okay, so at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So many.
Oh, moved. Do I have a second?
Everybody.
Second.
Moved and second, third, fourth. All right, moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I hear a majority. We stand adjourned. Madam Secretary, the time is now 9:12. Everyone, take care.
you.
Have a pleasant